Hi there, and welcome to the Nancy Thompson Learning Commons presentation on disability awareness via Learning Commons resources. My name is Craig Anderson. I'm one of the friendly and enthusiastic librarians here at the Nancy Thompson Learning Commons. With me are my colleagues Linda Cifelli and Chrysler Pitts. They're both here. They'll be talking to you soon. I'm going to start off with, and this is our agenda, for those of you who are wondering what we're going to be covering today. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the multimedia resources that we have for disability awareness. And then my colleague Chrysler is going to talk about some biographical resources, as well as scholarly journals and historical newspapers. And then finally, my colleague Linda is going to be talking about the research guides and then some of the information that you can get through statistics and scholarly journals, etc. And then we'll open up the floor for questions and discussion. What I'm going to start with, I'm going to just go to the Learning Commons homepage right here. Can you all see that? Okay, yes, okay. So this is the Learning Commons homepage. The easiest way to get here is probably through learningcommons.kane.edu, Learning Commons, all one word, .kane.edu. That will take you to this page, this kind of odd URL that we have here. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to the A to Z list of databases that will come up on this pop-up window here that will say, welcome to the LC engagement zone. When I go to the A to Z list of databases, that will give us a view of all the databases that we subscribe to here at Kane. We have a number of different databases on a wide variety of topics. Some of them are multidisciplinary, so some of them cover a lot of topics, like Academic Search Premier, for example. Some of them are very specific, like we have an accounting, tax, and banking collection here from ProQuest. But the one I'm going to go to right now is called Films on Demand. Now, Films on Demand, this is a database that we get from Info-Based Learning, and it sounds like a lot of fun. A lot of the films that we get through Films on Demand are of the more educational nature. So when I click on Films on Demand, it will bring me to a bunch of suggested videos for me, and they have things on events in history, environmental issues are here. They have Films on Demand exclusives here as well. But because this is disability awareness, I'm going to just do a search up here on disabilities. I mean, it's going to give me several suggestions here, disabilities in the workplace, a guide to disabilities, etc. I'm just going to click on some of these and see what comes up. And it's going to give me a list of different videos right here. Now, some of these will just be video segments. They'll be part of a larger video. This is a segment on learning disabilities defined, and it's from the overall video. This is just a 1 minute and 32-second clip from the video Understanding Learning Disabilities. We have dealing with disabilities here, real life teens. So a lot of what this will bring you are different segments of the actual full videos. And then you can always go to the full videos from here. I'm going to click on this one, moving on with disabilities, skiing with disabilities. This will bring us to the video, and we can watch the video here. We can watch it in mini screen or in full screen. I'm just going to watch it kind of in picture here. And I don't know how well you can hear that. So this will show us the video. We can watch this video segment, or as I said before, go to the larger video. And there are links down here where we can share this video with other people as well. We can find an embed link if we want to embed this on like a web page or in like our lesson plan, something like that. Let me just minimize this. There's a link here where we can find out how to cite this video if we need to cite it for our MLA citations or in APA citations as well. And one of the best things about these online videos is that it also includes a transcript over here. So we can watch a transcript of the video, and this is everything that they're saying in the video. So we can do that. And actually, I believe if we do a Control F, yes, we can search within this page for, let me just pause this. If we do Control F, it will bring us to the Find feature. And we can do a search within this page for something. I'm gonna look for the word slope because they're talking about skiing. So we can search for the word slopes here, and there's only one instance of it, but it highlights that within the transcript. So if we needed to find something specific within this video here, we can search through the transcript, and then we can just click here within the transcript. If we just click here, we'll take us to that point in the video. So then we can watch, this whole video from there. Well, it seemed like it stopped it right there. Oh, there it goes. So yeah, we'll allow you to do a search within the transcript of the video. And you can also download this transcript if you want to download it into like a Word document. So there's a place where you can read it by yourself later. One thing to note is that when you do the Control F, and this is on like a Windows PC, I probably Command F on a Mac, I would guess. When you do that, make sure that you're clicked somewhere outside of this box, because if you're actually clicked in this box and you do a Control F, I think it brings you to full screen. Oh, no. I've done this before and it goes to full screen for some reason. So make sure you're clicked in the right place. When you're not clicked on the button, nope. It's very temperamental. So yeah, that's the Films on Demand. And the other thing that within Films on Demand is if you find a video that you like, if you're looking down the list of different videos and you're not finding exactly what you like, if you find something in the right ballpark, something that's kind of close to what you're looking for, down on the bottom here, it will bring you to You May Also Like. So it will show you other videos that are related to that video on top. So you can go to any number of these videos as well. And it's the same exact thing. You can look through the transcript. You can do a search through here. You can click on a particular bit of text and it will bring you to that point in the video. Okay, so that's Films on Demand. It can be very useful. And it's definitely worth checking out. So I'm going to go back to our agenda here. And now I'm going to let my colleague, Ms. Chrysler Pitts, take over, and she's going to tell you about some biography resources, scholarly journals, and historical newspapers. So thank you. I'm going to stop sharing right now. Sorry.
Thanks, Craig. And can you see my video, my screen?
Not quite yet.
Okay. Can you see my screen
there
now?
It goes.
Okay. Good afternoon. For the next few moments, we will look at databases that provide biography resources, scholarly articles, and historical newspaper articles for Disability Awareness Month topics. I'm going to start at the A through C databases page, just like Craig did. And I'm going to use the All Database Types menu, and I'm going to search for biographies. The Learning Commons has 7 biography databases. And for today, I'm going to use Biography Reference Bank. This is an H.W. Wilson EBSCO Post database. Features biographical profiles as well as obituaries, magazine articles, images, and even performance reviews. For today's search, I'm going to look for a well-known artist, Frida Kahlo. She was a Mexican woman who had multiple disabilities. She was one of the most influential artists of our time, and she contracted polio at the age of 6. This resulted in one of her legs being thinner than the other. Then at the age of 18, she was involved in a horrific accident that left her with a broken spine and pelvis, as well as a pierced abdomen and a severe amount of pain that she would suffer intermittently for the rest of her life. It was during the year that she was recovering in a body cast that she took up painting as a way to express her creativity. So today I'd like to research Frida Kahlo, and we're still in Hispanic Latinx Heritage Month. So she fits in with both categories, disability awareness, and we're still finishing up Hispanic Latinx Heritage Month. So let's search for biographies on Frida Kahlo. I typed her name in the search box. I'm going to click search, and the biography comes up as a first result, but just As an FYI, the database also includes magazine articles, academic journal articles, reviews, book reviews, and other biographies on other individuals that are related to this artist. You click her name, you'll see that there are 5 biographies. And let's just look at the one in the middle, Dictionary of Women Artists from 1997. And these biographies are from 1990 through 1997. So let's look at the one from Dictionary of Women Artists. And you'll see that the biography is listed below. And one thing great about EBSCO, you can choose a language. You can translate this article if you'd like to. And you can also listen to the article. Let's just listen briefly so you can see how it works. Okay. Okay, we won't go any further, but this database does give you the option to listen to the biographies or any of the documents on the platform. Now, EBSCO gives you a lot of tools. For example, if you want to save this to Google Drive, you can do that. You can add it to a folder. To use the EBSCO host folder feature, you have to be logged into an account. You can print this document. You can email this to yourself. You can save it. You can cite the article and choose your citation format and copy it and paste it. Keep in mind that these are machine generated, so you need to check your citation manual. If you're using EndNote or EasyBib, you can export the citation into one of those programs. If you're signed into your account, you can create a note for yourself. And EBSCO provides a permalink. This permalink is the permanent link to the article. I know a lot of times people will save the link at the top of the page. You don't want to do that because that's going to expire. So make sure you copy the permalink if you want to share this with your classmates if you're working on a project, or if you want to put this in your Blackboard account. We listen to the article. You saw that feature already, and we also could translate it. I won't do that today because it takes a while before the article gets translated. Let's go back out to the result list. We did see the biographies and the list of other resources that are available. And one last feature of this database I'd like to show you. If you look right here, it says video results 3 of 44. Even though this isn't a multimedia database, like the database Craig just showed you, there are 44 videos on Frida. And if you wanted to see images of her, they're right here in the corner. These are images of her. You can see them. So this is a really good resource if you're looking for biographical information on an individual. We suggest that this is a good place to search instead of Wikipedia. I know a lot of people like to go to Wikipedia, but try Biography Reference Bank. So now we're going to switch gear and we're going to look at a database that provides scholarly journal articles. And my topic covers a lot of different subject area. So I'm going to use the all subjects menu and I'm going to look for a multidisciplinary database. We have 33 and the one that I'm going to use today is ProQuest Central. This database provides one-stop access to a comprehensive collection of journals, magazines, and newspapers covering subjects such as business, computer science, criminal justice, education, ethnic studies, gender studies, healthcare, psychology, religion, science, and telecommunications. And with this database, I'm going to use it to find scholarly peer-reviewed articles. If you're not sure what the definition is, you can just click the little I. And ProQuest gives you a brief definition, a publication in which articles go through an official editorial process that involves review and approval by the author's peers, people who are experts in the same subject area, and there's more information. I'm only going to limit to peer reviewed. I'm not going to limit to full text, and I'm going to exclude wire feeds. So my topic that I'm going to use for today, I'm going to search for Americans with Disabilities Act and employment discrimination. One of the reasons I'm using the quotes is because I want the database to search for the exact phrase of Employment Discrimination and Americans with Disabilities Act, and is connecting my terms together. So I'm going to click search. And you'll notice in my result list, I have 1,196 results. And my date range for these articles is 1990 through 2021. I can change that date range if I only want the last 10 years or the last 5 years. I have those options. And if you notice, the first article has a little green circle. And if you hover over this, it says link to external site. This will open in a new window. This little icon is a full text finder icon. This article is full text, but it's not full text in this database. If I click right here, it's going to link me to another journal collection or database where you can find this full text article. So when you're doing your research, if you come across this little button, don't worry about it. You will have the full text. You just have to click and it's going to take you out of the current database that you're in. Let's look at number 3, legislative report. Does the Americans with Disabilities Act accommodate depressed workers? I always tell my students to click the abstract to determine if they can use the article. So here's our abstract here. And you see the subjects that are covered by this article. And the full text PDF is right here. And one thing great about ProQuest, it gives you different options on ways you can share the article. You click the All Options menu, you can download the PDF, you can cite the article, and of course, these are all machine generated again, just like with EBSCOhost. You would need to paste and cut this, and you can also export it to EndNote or EasyBib. One thing with ProQuest, the link at the very top where it says document URL, this is similar to what we saw in EBSCO, the permalink. This is a link that you want to save if you want to come back to this article. You can email or print. There are other options. You can, again, you see where you can export it into EndNote or Noodle Tools or EasyBib. So you have lots of options. Another great feature of ProQuest, you can see that the database provides related items. And these articles are from other journals on a similar topic. So that's one of the really good features of using ProQuest. And this article that we're looking at, it's scholarly, but you notice that it's open access. So for those of you who would like to provide open access resources for your students, this is a great example of an open access article. We're going to look at one final database before we finish today. We're going to look at a historical newspaper. So I'm going to go back to the A through Z databases page. And I'm going to click the all database type menus again, and I'm going to search for newspapers. We're going to look for historical newspaper. And we have 18 newspaper databases. And I'm going to scroll down to ProQuest Historical Newspapers, the New York Times. This is a digital image archive of the New York Times beginning in September 1851 and ending several years before the current year. The date range for this database is 1851 through 2017. And I'd like to search for an article or articles dealing with Americans with Disability Act again and employment. So I'm using quotes again because I want the database to search my exact phrase. I'm using and to connect my terms, and I'm just going to search for employment. And you see that we have 336 results, and the date range for our articles are 1989 through 2017. I have the option of limiting to full text. And one good thing about this database, it allows you to search or limit by document type. For example, if I want a front page article, I can select a front page article, or if I'm interested in letters to the editor, I have that option. Or if I'm looking for a display, ad, or an editorial, I can choose to limit my results to those types of articles. I'm going to look at the first article. And one of the things I didn't tell you about this database, as well as EBSCO, the databases sort by relevance. These articles are sorted by relevance, but you can switch to oldest first or most recent first. But I prefer for this search to stick with relevance. So let's look at the first article, Pivotal Rulings Ahead for Law on Disability, Supreme Court to begin to chart protections. Pivotal Rulings Ahead, Supreme Court to begin review of Americans with Disabilities Act. This article is published in 1999. And what you see right now is the article as it appeared in the New York Times on April 19th, 1999. And if you click where it says Page View PDF, this shows you how the article appeared in the actual newspaper on that page. And this was on the front page of the newspaper for that day. And if you are having problems reading this article or the first one I showed you, those views, you can always click full text, which gives you the HTML view. And this makes it easier for you to read. And this you can email to yourself. And again, we're using another ProQuest database. So this looks very similar to what I showed you a few minutes ago. All the options that you have for saving the article, exporting, copying the link. Again, you'll see that ProQuest provides related resources. In this case, looks like we have newspaper articles as well as journal articles. And all you have to do is click the title and you can go to that other resource that's related to the topic that you're searching. And that's basically all I have. I suggest that when you get an opportunity that you search the databases that we're showing you today, and everything that we're showing you today, you can access from your home using your King Google email credentials. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Linda, who is going to share additional databases with you that you can use to continue your research on disability awareness.
Okay, well, thank you, Chrysler. Hi, everyone. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen now, the Learning Commons website? Okay, thanks. Again, it's great to see everyone today. And so far, both Craig and Chrysler have been navigating to the Learning Commons library databases through the databases A to Z link on the Learning Commons website. I did want to show you another option for accessing our databases and other information resources. For instance, when you're looking at the Learning Commons website, we do have a search box right here in the middle of the screen, the Search WorldCat Discovery bar. And there's a set of links on the line just below that search box. So for today, I'd like to click on the link for research guides, which will open up another browser window. And from this screen, we see a collection of links to a large number of research guides that have been developed by Kane's librarians, and in some cases, some of our other colleagues. And we have quite a large selection here arranged by subject area, but across the top of the screen, we do have the option to go to all guides where we see an alphabetical menu of every guide that's been created. And you could also search by group, by type, or by owner. But I'll stay on the by subject menu. And if we look on the left-hand column and scroll down, we do have a category on the subject menu for disability studies. And I'm just going to click on that link, which opens up a small menu of guides that fall under the disability studies category. We have some that are very particular in their focus, like the Communication Disorders and Deafness Guide, Counselor Education, Health, Occupational Therapy, and so on. But we do have a link for disability awareness. And this is a guide that we put together specifically for this workshop. And what we find here is a set of recommended resources that you can utilize when you're focusing on disability studies or topics relating to that subject area. What you'll also find with any one of our research guides is that they follow a very similar format. We try to have a template that add some consistency across all of our guides. So it's not confusing if you go from one guide to another and things are arranged differently. So what we'll find typically is a home screen like this one here. We do have a home screen for Disability Awareness Month 2021, where we have some information from the Library of Congress that explains the observation of National Disability Employment Awareness Month in October. But as you scroll down, we have some selected recommended books that relate to disability studies, disability rights, the history of disability rights, and so on. And these are all ebooks that we've selected here. And you can access any of these books simply by clicking the link for the title. And as Chrysler mentioned earlier, if you're off campus, and sometimes even when you're on campus, you have to log in with your Kane email username and password. I didn't have to log in for this one since I am on campus, but I do have access to this entire ebook where I can just go page by page to the book or utilize the table of contents along the left-hand side. So we do have quick access to a number of ebooks similar to this one in the way that they work. So you can explore these a little bit further. And I should also say that this is the work in progress, and we will continue to add links to new ebooks as they become available, or as we learn of new resources that would be useful. And we always welcome feedback. What you'll also see on our research guides along the left-hand side of the screen is a menu where you can link to other pages within the specific research guide. So for instance, there's a Start Your Research Here button. And again, this will appear on other guides as well. And on the Start Your Research Here page, we typically provide recommendations for reference books, things like encyclopedias or handbooks or dictionaries that can be useful when you're just starting a research project or just starting to gather information for a topic. It can be useful to read up on the topic, get some background information or definitions, a little bit of history about your topic. It makes it a little bit easier when you want to dive in and focus on something more specific or more in depth. So what we see here on the Start Your Research Here page are some recommended subject-focused encyclopedias. And some of these are ebooks. When you see the hyperlinked title, you know it's an ebook, but others are not hyperlinked. And those are the print books that we have shelved in the reference collection on the second floor of the Nancy Thompson Learning Commons. So we have a number of useful print reference books that are here in the building. But the ebooks would be available to anyone, no matter where you are on or off campus. And again, this is a bit of a work in progress, and we will continue to add links and information as they become available. What we've also done on the Start Your Research Here page is we've added some links to some of the databases that you can use if you want to explore on your own and look for additional subject-focused encyclopedias or handbooks or dictionaries. So for instance, when I scroll down a little bit, there's another box. This one's labeled Recommended Online Reference Databases. And we do have a database called AL eBooks, which is great for online ebook versions of encyclopedias. We also have Sage Knowledge, which is also great for online reference books. They are both multidisciplinary databases, so they would cover many subject areas. But I just clicked into Sage Knowledge, and I'll just type in some keywords in the search box here. So for instance, I'm going to type in disability. Actually, I'll end at the L and stick an asterisk at the end of that word stem. And the asterisk here is serving as a truncation symbol. I'm just typing the beginning part of the word. I'm truncating the longer word or words. Put the asterisk, and the database will automatically look for records that utilize this word stem, plus any longer variant spellings of that word. I'll do the same thing with maybe inclusive or inclusion. So INCLUS asterisk. I'm connecting those two terms with the word and. and the database will look for records that mention both of those terms or variant spellings of those two terms. So what's happening now is I'm getting links to entire ebooks like this Encyclopedia of Disability or Handbook of Disability Studies, the SAGE Handbook of Special Education, and so on. So I'm getting links to ebooks that pick up on those search terms. As I scroll down a little bit further, there are also links in some cases to chapters or articles that were published within an ebook. So for instance, here's one called Employment and Work. That's actually another book from a series. Some of these will actually be articles as well. So I have to scroll down a little bit further. Okay, here's one chapter in Employment and Work, Current Issues, Controversies, and Solutions. That's an example of a chapter within an ebook, and I can find some others as I scroll down. But what I could do is just click the link for the title of the chapter. Actually, did I click on the one? Oh, there we go, chapter 2. So here I have the full text of a chapter from an ebook, and I can read the full text and scroll back up to the top, and I have different options for downloading the article as a PDF. I can do that. I can share the article with either a colleague or with myself. If I click share, it gives me an option to fill it out with my email address or a colleague's email address. There's a get link, and I can get a hyperlink that I can copy and paste somewhere and have access to this article again later on. And there's also the cite option, and Chrysler was showing similar cite buttons in other databases. Well, the Sage Knowledge database does this as well. It defaults to APA style, but we can switch over to MLA or Chicago if need be. And you could copy and paste this into a Word document or a Google Doc or somewhere else. But as Chrysler mentioned before, you always want to proofread it. It is machine generated, so it may not be perfectly formatted. So you may need to clean up issues with the capitalization and so on. So definitely look that over. But as I mentioned earlier, the ebooks as well as the articles that we get from Sage Knowledge, as well as from the Gale ebook database, can be very helpful when you're at the beginning of a project and want to get the background information. And it can make it easier when you start digging a little bit deeper, working in some of the databases that get us to journal articles and so on. So these are good places to start. And we have other options that are available here. I'll circle back in a minute or so, but here we do have a link to Films on Demand, which Craig had demonstrated a little while ago. I just wanted to quickly point out that along the left-hand side of the screen, there are buttons for other pages within the Disability Awareness Research Guide. For instance, if you click Find Books, it gives a little bit of guidance on how you can go about searching for books or ebooks within the Learning Commons. We also have direct access to some of our ebook databases. They're listed here, as well as some information about how you can locate books in other places, including other libraries, or if you need to request things through interlibrary loan, those links are provided right here as well. Find articles will come in very handy if you are trying to find scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles for a topic. And Chrysler had demonstrated how you can search for journal articles when you're working off of the database's A to Z page. But here we have some links to some of those same databases. We've put them all in one place, so you're not dealing with a list of 250 or so databases. Here we have a nice little set of recommended databases. We do have options to search in databases that focus on many different academic disciplines. So you could approach this research, disability awareness, disability studies from business perspective, or from an education or a health perspective, or social work, social sciences, and so on. So you have many different options. And Chrysler had mentioned and had demonstrated how you can search through the ProQuest databases. We do have the links for ProQuest Central and ProQuest research databases here as well. But notice how some of the databases on this list have EBSCO host in parentheses. We do get a lot of different databases from the EBSCO host platform. And we could always go in directly through one of those EBSCO databases as listed here. We do have the option to go in through EBSCO host research databases. And this is a way for you to select multiple EBSCO databases and search them all at one time. But you can also just select a single EBSCO database, such as perhaps SocIndex with full text, which is a sociology database, but it allows you to search for articles about different cultures, different groups within society. And I think you get some really interesting things from the SocIndex database. But what you could also do, even if you've gone in through a single EBSCO database, is just click the link for Choose Databases, which appears right above the search box. When you click Choose Databases, you see the complete menu of all the databases that we get from the EBSCO company. And if you move the cursor over the little word bubble to the right of a database name, it gives you a description, which can help when you're selecting databases that you think would make sense for your research topic. So for instance, Academic Search Premier is described as a multidisciplinary database. I'd recommend that we add a check mark there. We do have some health and psychology databases as well. So you can add as many or as few databases as you want from this list. If I want to focus on disability and education, inclusion in the classroom, and so on, we have databases like Education Source and ERIC. We have Medline. We have on the right, I've already selected SocIndex. There's even a sport database called Sport Discus, which focuses on sports science, physical education, physical therapy, and so on. So you have various options here. And we could also choose maybe Business Source Elite to focus on inclusion in the workplace. So I'll just go ahead and click OK. And we're back on the search screen. It's still only showing SocIndex with full text, but if I click Show All, I see my other selections. Now, as I had done in the Sage Knowledge database, where I put the word "and" in between my keywords, I'd suggest that we do the same with the EBSCO host databases. So I can utilize the truncation symbol once again in this database. So what I'll do is just type the beginning part of a word, like disabil up to the L, asterisk, and maybe society, and INCLUS, asterisk allows the database to find inclusion, inclusive, inclusivity, and so on. So longer variants of that word stem. Just run the search. And here I'm getting over 6,000 articles that pick up on all three of these search terms. I noticed on the left-hand side that the date range for this list of articles ranges from 1930 to magically 2022. So what I could do if I want only articles published in the last 10 years, the last 5 years, I can adjust the tab on the left-hand side and pull the earliest date over towards the right. So if I want it to be the last 10 years or so, I could do that. As I scroll down the list, I noticed that most of the articles at the top of the list have the little academic journal symbol along the left-hand side. So hopefully what we're seeing are a lot of articles published in scholarly peer-reviewed journals. But I also noticed that number 5 is categorized as a periodical, which in EBSCO tends to mean magazine. So you do get different types of articles. It's likely that we'll also have newspaper articles showing up, and maybe even references to PhD dissertations, different types of publications. So if you are trying to focus on scholarly peer-reviewed journals, you do have the option to add a check mark next to scholarly peer-reviewed journals along the left-hand side of the Limit To section. And then the database will simply weed out things that were not published in scholarly peer-reviewed journals. We tend to get a lot of full text links in these databases. So you'll see PDF full text or linked full text. As Chrysler mentioned, the full text finder option. So number 8 has that little full text finder link with the symbol, so that we can just click and access the full text from one of our other library databases. But hopefully you will get plenty of full text options for your topic, for your research. We're getting a lot of international coverage, I see in the result list here. And you may find articles published in languages other than English. So if you look along the left-hand side, you could always, if you're interested, is click on English, on language, and then select another language that might be available. So you could also narrow to different types of studies, methodology, if you want a qualitative study or quantitative study or a focus group and so on. So you can zero in on different types of research that have been done related to disability studies. So you can play with the keywords as you are focusing on different topics. You can add different keywords in, or perhaps as you're running your searches, you'll see that different terminology is showing up, perhaps in the article titles, or perhaps in the section labeled subjects that appears several lines below an article title. Those subject words are controlled vocabulary words. So these are words that have been assigned to an article based on what the article is really about. And the subject words can be great sources of alternative keywords to try out in your search. So I always get new ideas in those subject terms. So hopefully you would as well. But it really is a matter of playing with the keywords, trying different databases. And I did want to go back. We're going to run out of time soon. So let me just go back to the Find Articles page, part of the Disability Awareness Research Guide. And really quickly, I just wanted to point out that we have some other page buttons along the left side. There's a Find Websites button, where we've grouped together some websites where you can access information from various disability awareness groups, and maybe gather statistics or other types of information. There's a Cite Sources page where we have, and this does appear on every single one of our research guides, but on the Cite Sources page, we provide access to some of the helpful websites that can help with citation styles, such as the Purdue OWL. I believe the Kean University Writing Services also, we have some links to some of their guides as well. And we also have links to either the ebook versions of some of the citation style guides or information about the print manuals and where you can find them here in the Learning Commons. So this Cite Sources page appears on all of our guides. And we do have a Get Handouts page, and these also appear on many of our guides as well. They're not specific to disability awareness, but we're trying to provide some support for students when they're at various stages in the research project. I do want to circle back, however, to the Start Your Research Here page, because among the databases that we've listed here on Start Your Research Here, we do have a link to one of our statistics databases, the one called Statista. And I'll just quickly run a quick search in Statista. And I admit it's one of my favorite databases. It does cover so many topics. And they do provide some quick links to some of the hot topics that are trending right now, like coronavirus or COVID vaccines, social media, and so on. But you also have the search box, the keyword search box right here in the center of the screen. And Statista will work with the truncation symbol, the asterisk, and it will also work with the and connector between your keywords. I think it'll also work even if you manage to forget to connect your keywords with and. But I'll go ahead and maybe search for disability asterisk, and maybe employment. And what happens is you get a list of search results. Usually you get something, but if not, if you get 0, you may need to try different keywords. And what we get is a list of different types of statistical reports or graphs. You have a key to what a type of resource is on the list. If you look on the left, the orange squares refer to dossiers or different types of reports. The red is a topic report, and the blue squares are actual statistics. So the orange one, disability in the US, for instance, allows us to click and then access a PDF document. And this one happens to be a 68-page report about disability in the US. So embedded within this report are going to be a lot of statistics and different tables. So it's a great way to get an overview of the topic and maybe to focus on some specific things related to disability in the US. It's very visual, and it's also a very long document. If you go back to the result list, some of the others on this list, the little blue squares, are going to be graphs or visual representations of the data of the statistics. So for instance, employment rate of persons with a disability in the US from 2009 to 2020. You have a lot of options here. Unemployment rate of persons with a disability. So if you click on the link for the title, then you get a visual representation of the data. So infographics, and these can be very helpful if a student is writing a paper or preparing a presentation. You have different ways to embed this graph into your paper or presentation. So for instance, towards the top right, there's a download section. You can download this graph as a PDF file. If you're working perhaps in a statistics class, and it would be helpful to get this data into a spreadsheet, like an Excel spreadsheet, you can download into Excel. You have an image option you can download as a PNG image, or if you're creating a PowerPoint slideshow, you can click on PowerPoint and download it that way. Also along the right, there's source information. So this data was coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics from a particular survey. And then there's a link to the actual source. That's a good way to go into the, in this case, the Bureau of Labor Statistics website and maybe get some additional data. And you have other options here for details or an FAQ. So they explain how the data was collected. So this is one of the databases, like many of the others, that are sort of fun to explore, and you'll get different results as you change the keywords. So it's certainly worth trying different ideas out and see what you can uncover. But if you have questions about this database or any of the others, we certainly recommend that you reach out to us. And I'm just going to go back out to the Learning Commons website really quickly. You could always reach out to us through the chat window on the bottom right corner, or click on Ask a Librarian, where you can access a collection of answers to frequently asked questions, and also get information about how to reach out to us in other ways. But I'm going to turn the floor back over to Craig. I'll stop sharing.
Okay.
Okay.
And so let me back to our agenda, and I'm just going to open up the discussion questions slide. So that will do it for our Disability Awareness and Learning Commons resources presentation. Does anybody have any questions or comments or any gratitude? That's always fun too. And everybody except me is muted, so that's an issue. Okay. Let me stop the recording. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording for right now. And we'll continue this discussion afterward. If you're viewing this later, thank you for watching. And please feel free to contact us for more information. But actually, no, I'm going to go to the contact us slide first, just so that people watching this later can see how to contact us. You can contact me at cjanders@kane.edu, Linda Cifelli at lcifelli@kane.edu, and Christopher Pitts at cpitts@kane.edu. And please feel free to reach out to us if you have any question about anything that we've spoken about here today, or anything that we haven't spoken about here today, because we're librarians. That's kind of what we do. So let me stop the recording right now. It keeps getting away from me. Right, thank you.